Hi, my name is Julie Boyland, and this is my Rich Media Production final. I chose to make an app that is exercise-based, and I called it Move. So I'm going to open it up and show you how the app runs, and then I'm going to go through the Xcode and explain how I created it. So the launch screen, when it's loading onto your phone, is supposed to look like this. I created this image in Photoshop, and there's also this is the icon I also created in Photoshop. Here's a bigger version of it that will appear on your phone as you go to click and open the app. But let's get started and actually show it to you. So I wanted to use the skills that I developed from past lessons to create this app. And I've had it exercise-based, and I'm calling it Move. When I was trying to think of ideas on what to make for this final project, me and my roommate were brainstorming together, and we're both very active people, and but we have different methods of getting exercise. My roommate really loves to do exercise classes like yoga and Pure Barre and things along those lines, but I am more of I enjoy like running outside and outdoor workouts, I guess, and I don't know that much about workout classes or what they all entail. So I wanted to be able to have an app that connected me to new places to go running in my area, like different trails or just scenic routes and such in Athens, Georgia. And also, I wanted to learn more about workout classes that were available in Athens because I rarely do classes, and it would be helpful to know not only what's in the area, but what each class exactly is, and have a map view that opened to show me where that's located in relation to where I am. So you open the app, and it looks like this. You click here, and there's a description. It says, "This app works as a personal trainer. Move encourages active lifestyles based on your location and preferences. Use the table view to get connected with the best running locations in Athens, or choose from a variety of classes in your area." So I'm going to click Get Started. We'll start with the running trails table view. So I used these thumbnails of different like running shoes because I thought it was aesthetically pleasing, and also it was a nice way of organizing it all. So I'm going to start with the Millage Avenue tab because that's somewhere that I frequently go running. So you open it up, and it has a label that appears, and it says Millage Avenue. There's an image view of an area along South Millage Avenue, and then a little description about the area and why you would want to go running here, and how it has mostly flat terrain, just to see if this fits what you're looking for. There's also a map view down here, so it shows you where this is located, and there is a pinpoint with a title that will appear when you click it. The map also has a segmented controller, so when you click it, it'll change the type of map, which is a nice feature to have. Then we'll go to the next one, which is the Botanical Gardens. And there's a, similar to the last one, description, label, photo, but obviously different description, label, and photo because it's different location. The pin, yet again, has a title that pops up when you click on it, and the map changes as it did before. We'll go to the UGA track. Has a picture of the track, description, a nice map view, which is pretty helpful, and again, it will change based on which portion of the controller you click on. And there's the greenway. Memorial Park. And Ben Burton Park. So overall, I feel like this was pretty helpful if you're looking for new places to go running, because it describes the area, provides a picture, and then shows you where exactly it is located. It's very interactive and helpful. This section of the app was dedicated to workout classes in your area. And this was pretty informative for me because I'm somebody that doesn't usually participate in workout classes. So I chose a variety that are offered in Athens. So if you click on the Pure Barre tab, the label says Pure Barre, there's a photo of the workout, and then a description straight from their website describing what exactly this workout entails, which I felt was really helpful for somebody who had never heard of this. And it's not just like running where you know what it is. And yet again, there's a map view with a pinpoint that has a title and different views for the map on the segment controller. And there's Orange Theory Fitness. Same thing applies. The label's different, the photograph is different, and the text view is different because it is a different class, but the same overall structure is consistent. Then we have 5 Points Yoga, located on 5 Points. I guess that kind of went without saying. You might not even need the map if you knew where 5 Points was. But yeah. Then we have Crunch Athens. And again, map view, different versions of the map, and a pinpoint to fully locate where Crunch Athens is. Then we have the Omni Club. So now that I've shown you the app, I'm going to go through Xcode and explain how I created it. So here we're on the main storyboard. And let's get started. So first thing you see is the navigation controller right here. And that refers to this spot, how you can click the back button to get to the previous view you were on, which is very helpful. And then the first view controller is right here. And I created that feature, where the description pops up and then it goes away when you click Get Started. Right here, this is a button, and it goes to, oh, I have the wrong view controller, excuse me. And it's called by this function, show message. So this, excuse me, from here to here is the function that calls the thing to pop up. So had the title be Welcome to Move, and then I have a little description of what Move is. And then here is where I added the button for Get Started, and it will make the thing go away. So you can see it in full time. I felt that was a nice feature to have. It was pretty simple, not very intrusive or adding clutter to the page. I wanted the app to be user-friendly and not too complicated. So next I created a table view, which I struggled with a lot at first because the previous table views I've created, they have been the first view on the screen, like there wasn't something before it, and I was having trouble remembering how to send data from this to this, but I did figure it out, so no worries. Going to So this is my table view controller in the Swift file over here, and this itself is the table view. So I created an array for the data in the table, so that is seen right here. The Millage Avenue, Botanical Gardens, UGA Track, Greenway, Memorial Park, Ben Burton, and that's going to send, I'll open it so you can, this here is the table view, the different sections that take you to the next screen. And for example, like the Millage Avenue right there is right there. So this array sent the data of what each thing would be titled, or the physical text seen within the view in each section. This array, small pics for table, were images that I had put in here. So a lot of different images in there, but they're in there. The small pics for table, those images are seen here in the different thumbnails of shoes. So that each of the icons right here is represented from this array. And sorry. And I also had to add this area and the stuff over here. All of these codes were created to have the table view function properly. Oh, and there's also a segue that I had to code in so that it would send the stuff from here to here. So each row would send things to the show stuff view controller. And that was ensured through a segue here. But yeah, so that was, and the segue is also represented from here. The way you make the segues, you have to control drag from the prototype cell area to here, and that's the segue represented right there. Yeah, and then in the show stuff view controller that just popped up over here, I have a lot of different stuff going on. So there's a label, an image view, a text view, and a map view, and then also the segmented controller for the map view. So I guess let's start with the label. So the labels are represented by this outlet right here. And I from the object library, I dragged in the label, and then I dragged from the label into the Swift file, created this outlet called my label. So I had to create this little spot right here, so var the label equals that, excuse me, to call it. Then down here, the spot right here also allowed the text that I wanted to appear into the label, And then I'll show you in a second which text. See if there's, and the label also came into play with the pin on the map, which was a feature I added later. But thankfully, since I already had the label array in place, I was able to use that same data to go to the pin function. So this right here is calling the pin. This is the function itself, and then this within this area also helps to call the pin, and it used the same data. So how the label will say Millage Avenue, the pin also said Millage Avenue, because they're both referring to the same thing. So it was nice that it was able to use that code for two different things. But So just like how this array was showing what would appear in the different segments of the view controller, there's also an array that I created in the show stuff view controller that had the label appear. For some reason I am slightly forgetting where I put that, but I promise it's in here. Let me refresh my memory for a minute. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. So I made this storage file, which is a separate Swift file that contains like a lot of data, mostly, yeah, all arrays that have applied to a bunch of different of the other files, not just one specified view, which was nice because I was starting to have so many different files, it was hard to sort through them all, as you can see. But this area right here is the array that has the data for the labels and the pin, because I used it for both. So how it says Millage Avenue, Botanical Gardens, UGA track, that all appears on the label right here, as well as the pin down here. So the label, and I'm also the text for label section right here is tied to the label, and text for label is this array. So that's why it's able to connect. In a similar sense, the photos are connected in the same like way, except with an image view. So pics for new view are the photos that I had for that. So if we go over, this is the image view, and it's created with an outlet that I called show pics. Made it in the same way as the label outlet, where you just control drag into the Swift file. This also helps to call the pics. And then down here is the code that makes the photos appear, and they, similar to the label, they're pulling it from this storage Swift file, and it's from right here. And these photos are also located in this area. So, and then also another thing on the screen is the text view. So that is referenced right here, and in addition, it also has an outlet, because everything needs an outlet, and it is right here. And also, shocking, if you go into the storage Swift file, you will see text for new view, and there's these little paragraphs I wrote up about each running location and the description of each and such. So then you go back to main storyboard, and as before, there's these little lines of code that are calling the function from text for new view, which was what I just showed you in storage, and show text, which is the outlet up there, and my text, which is this thing, and together it's all working, which is great. And then there's the map view, which is where things get slightly more complicated. So I dragged it on from the object library as before. Had to create an outlet for it, which is right here, called map type. No, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, map type. No, my map. Map type is for the segmented controller that changes the map type. But my map is what we're talking about right now, which is this. Oh, I also had to add this code in general. I forgot to mention that, but it's in relation to the table view and which row and such. But that's the map outlet. And then there's 2 lines of code in reference to the latitude and longitude, which is like the default, and then that's down here as well, because it is referencing data from an array in the storage Swift file once again, and each one of the arrays is called lat-long. Actually, they're both called. My latitude is one, my longitude is another. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And there's also a lot of other code that you have to add if you put a map in. It's all pictured over here. This area down here is for the pinit function, which I will get into a little bit after. But similar before, arrays. We're back in here. Here's the lat-long that I spoke about earlier. And it's the latitude and longitude of the different locations. So like the first one is, and I pulled that data from like Google Maps. So that is for Village Avenue, this is Botanical Gardens, and so on. And I had to create it for the classes as well, so that's what that's referring to. So since it's pulling the specific latitude and longitude coordinates, that's why it's able to create this map view of where it is, thanks to handy dandy Google Maps. It's very functional and interactive. I also added a segmented controller, which is this. Also, everything is constrained so that it stays in its specific location. Which is helpful because if you don't constrain it, which I didn't originally, some things wouldn't show up. Like at first the label wouldn't, then the image view is over the text view, and it's just helpful if things stay in their structure spot. So, for example, the segmented controller is constrained so it's at the very bottom of the page and in the center. And the constraints can be found over here. And you just choose how you want it. Like I wanted zero space from here and here. Just makes it work seamlessly. And yeah, but for the segment controller, similar to the other objects that I dragged in, I put it there, I dragged into the Swift file, and it's the map type function. Then I added this for a standard view, which is the default, satellite, and hybrid. So I felt that that was helpful to be able to change the map type. Then we added the pinit function. So I had to pull from a previous lesson, which might still be up. It should have still been up. Let's see. It is, okay. So we looked into this previous lesson where it was locating bike shops, and we tried to mimic the same code of pinit in here. And this right here is the thing that calls the pin. We linked it to the label, which is this area right here, the array I showed you earlier, because the title of the location would be the same for both the pin and the label. So that made it nice and convenient that we could call that once again. And it worked, and it was great, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The classes portion of the app functions exactly the same, but I can still go through it. Maybe in the process I'll remember if there's something I forgot to mention. So the table view right here is this screen. Again, I tried to make it have thumbnails as the photo, so it looked more organized, and also aesthetically was pleasing, but also each of these is the brand's logo for that particular class. So it helps like recognize the established brand. So let me go over to this one. So this is the second table view controller. I titled it as such, though I accidentally said table view controller, which is a little funny. At least I find it to be funny. Complete accident. I forgot to mention earlier with the other table view, but the same thing applies, that when you have a table view, you have to add these lines of code. You also have to identify the view, like the last one I named Julie. That's what I named Julia. Both are my name. I go by multiple things, so I named them each after myself. And this is pulling from storage once again, and there's an array called myData for table 2, and also an array called smallpics for table 2, which are the images that appear. These images are from this array, and the data that says Pure Bar, Orange the Year Fitness, 5 points yoga, is from here. And this also helps establish that will appear in the different cells. And yet again, have to prepare for the segue, which is this little handy dandy thing, and it will bring you to the next view controller, where all of this will appear, which I'll get into in a second. But as a refresher, in storage, my data for table 2 is Pure Bar, Orange Their Fitness, and you can see right there it popping up. Small pics for table 2, where these photos, they're in this little tab. My text for label 2 is referring to this label that is on each of these views. That's why it's different each time you pull it through. It's from the same structure, it's just the different code going through. Same with the photos for second view and the text for second view. And as before, the map view is being called from an array of latitude, longitude points that help locate where each class is in Athens, Georgia, so that you can attend it easier. And we're going to go back. And I truly hope I'm not forgetting to mention any super important details of the creation process. Right here establishes how high, like the physical height of each cell will be. I put it at 110. That was like the standard for the first lesson where we learned about table views. I felt like it worked, so kept it like that. And this is all functioning exactly the same as the original show stuff view controller. This is just second view stuff controller. Second show stuff view controller, excuse me. So as before, there's label, image view, text view, map view, segmenting controller, and they're all connected by outlets, an action, and these help call them, latitude, longitude. This is establishing that there will be a standard satellite and hybrid version of the map. This was calling the images from storage to appear in the image view, just as the last thing. This is calling the text to show on label, and coincidentally that text also appears on the pin. And yeah, this is my app. I feel like I was pretty successful. in conclusion, I feel like I've grown a lot in this course. It is really challenging at times, most times, um, but I genuinely enjoyed it. I feel like these are some super valuable skills, and I would love to continue to learn more about Xcode, and it's a topic that really interests me. So thank you for a wonderful semester, and I hope you enjoyed my app, and hopefully it showed you some new places to try to go running or some cool new classes to check out. I would highly recommend them all, but thank you so much.